Finding Focus. Own Your Attention in an Age of Distraction. Written by Zelana Montminy. For years now, our attention has been under siege. The rise of devices and streaming has quietly eroded our ability to be fully present, one ping and scroll at a time. Then came the pandemic, a global disruption that was like hitting a pause button on the constant buzz of our overstimulated lives. For many, that silence felt disorienting at first, but within it was an opening, a moment to see how much of our time, energy, and relationships had been consumed by distraction. It was as if the world had slowed down long enough for us to recognize just how frayed our focus really was. We could see the strain that always being on had placed on our minds, our families, and our sense of connection. Unfortunately, the pandemic has had a lingering effect of normalizing isolation for a lot of people. So, in this summary, we'll look at how you can maintain focus in your day-to-day life, while at the same time keeping the kind of social life that a healthy brain requires. Number 1. Setting the foundation. Let's begin with a clear mission. We're going to reclaim our attention as something precious, something that belongs to us, not to our devices or the endless feed of information and entertainment that's constantly asking for views. For this to happen, we've got to create a world where focus isn't a luxury or a rare gift, but a natural state we can return to. That means quieting the external noise and the internal chatter so that we can direct our attention to where it truly matters. This requires a solid foundation, one that has 5 pillars: vision, fuel, sleep, movement, and nature. These are like the basic nutrients that will be needed in order for your attention to function as best it can. Let's start with vision. In a world of endless pings, a clear vision acts like a compass. It will always be there to tell you what deserves your time and what doesn't. So, before we go any further, take a moment to picture the life you want to be paying attention to. Write it down. This helps to create accountability. Fuel, aka food, is also of extreme importance. Your brain is an energy-hungry organ, and for it to pay sharp attention, it needs good fuel. Think antioxidant-rich plants and omega-3s. In fact, your brain and your gut have a strong connection. Studies have linked the microbiome patterns in your gut with mood and cognition, and even short shifts in gut health can nudge memory and attention. So keep your gut happy with probiotic foods and fiber. Of course, sleep is also a big factor when it comes to memory. If you don't get your minimum of 7 to 8 hours for a prolonged period, your reaction time, memory, and self-control will all suffer. In one study, when people stayed awake for 17 to 24 hours, their hand-eye coordination slid to levels comparable with being legally intoxicated. Exactly the kind of impairment that severely erodes complex thinking and attention. Now, movement isn't just about the body. It also elevates the neurotransmitters linked to motivation and focus. The executive skills you rely on to plan, filter, and switch gears all strengthen with regular physical activity. One large study showed that even moderate exercise, like a brisk walk or light jogging, improves thinking. You don't need perfection, you just need momentum. Aim for roughly 150 minutes a week, and you should be in good shape. Finally, don't underestimate the benefits of nature. If digital life drains top-down focus, nature refills it through soft fascination, the effortless pull of wind in trees, water and light, birdsong. That gentle engagement lets your directed attention rest and rebuild. Just 2 hours a week in green spaces has been shown to correlate with better health and well-being, whether it's one long hike or several mini walks. So, set a compelling North Star. Feed your brain, protect your sleep, move your body, and let nature restore you. That's a focus-ready life taking shape. Number 2. Protecting your time. With your foundation in place, now it's time to look at some practical strategies and tools that will help set the conditions to deliver great work. Let's start with rethinking the to-do list. Rather than a list, we should be shaping our days around priorities. One such technique is known as big rocks, or the jar of life. If you think of your day as an empty jar, it suggests filling that jar with a few high-impact tasks, or big rocks, that actually move life forward. Then fill in the empty space with pebbles and sand, which represent small tasks. But it's just as important that you block your time out. For the big work, treat that time as sacred. Meanwhile, batch the low-stakes stuff, like emails, errands, social time, and leave buffer space in your schedule so that surprises don't bulldoze your entire plan. Above all, tie those blocks to the personal vision we talked about earlier. When something on your schedule has that deep connection to the life you're trying to build, you're going to give it more attention and protection. Fortunately, even if you think your levels of concentration have been suffering lately, this is a trainable muscle. Start small, with 5 uninterrupted minutes, and stretch to 7, 10, then even longer. Pomodoro timers can help. Feed that muscle with long-form reading on topics you actually enjoy. Give your brain gym time through puzzles, chess, or learning an instrument or language. These are all activities that recruit wide neural networks. During these sessions, certain kinds of music or nature sounds might help you stay focused. Or, if silence suits you better, noise-canceling headphones may be a helpful tool. When protecting your blocks of time, it helps to rethink your definition of urgent. These days, any pinging notification can take on dire importance. But if we're being honest, most things can wait. The habit of instantly responding to messages and emails hurts cognition, frays patience, and lowers work quality. Boundaries are your shield. Always clarify when it comes to deadlines, decline politely when timelines are unreasonable, and practice broken record limits like no work calls after a certain hour. The same goes for rest. Breaks aren't indulgences, they're maintenance. Decision fatigue and relentless effort quietly dull judgment and creativity, while short, restorative pauses refuel attention. Aim for at least one break every 90 minutes. Many people find that an effective rhythm is 50 minutes on, 17 off. Make it genuinely restorative. Step away from your desk. Even a 15-minute dose of sunlight and fresh air can reset your mind. Put together, these tools help you direct attention with precision and defend it with boundaries and breaks. That's how focus turns from a fleeting state into a reliable skill. Number 3, be here now. So we've talked about how to keep the external distractions at bay, but what about the internal? Attention strengthens when we meet life where it's actually happening. This moment, this breath, this task, this conversation, and then build steady rituals that keep us there. A lot of this can fall under the category of presence. When our minds are adrift through much of the day, it leaves us feeling scattered and uneasy. Presence reverses that by bringing awareness back to what's in front of us. No judgment, just attention. A meditation or mindfulness practice can help strengthen this muscle as well. Being in the moment is a large part of mindfulness. Many of the daily exercises in this practice are easy to do and centered around controlled breathing and focusing your attention on the sensations around you. Presence is circular. You need a bit of focus to do it, and doing it grows your focus. This can also help you become a better listener. Real listening is the kind where you stop composing your reply and simply absorb the other person's words. Real listening conversations benefit from being device-free, giving you the added bonus of the peace that comes when you're not being hounded by pings. Remember that developing presence is a way of decluttering your mind so that fewer internal distractions arise. This is a process, and it helps to focus on the process rather than the anxieties that can arise when we fixate on the past or on future outcomes. For example, you might find yourself falling in love with cooking once you stop caring about the performative aspects and just focus on the act itself. The colors of the produce, the fragrance of the spices, the rhythm of the knife. The task won't change, but the experience will. That same stance steadies the nervous system and reduces stress, which can mess with your better judgment. If you ask, "What's happening right now?" you might notice any number of wonderful things. Your friend's smile, the quiet sounds of a city park. Your attention always has something welcoming to land on, something to bring you into the present moment and calm your mind. Practice and self-regulation is how it all comes together. We are what we practice. Do something long enough and it becomes an unconscious habit. If we've practiced distraction, reflexively checking phones at the first ping, those circuits get fast and strong. So now's the time to practice new habits. Read a few pages of a book with your morning coffee instead of opening apps. Practice mindfulness while walking the dog. Self-regulation powers all of this. It's not easy breaking old patterns, so prime yourself before the hard work starts. Remind yourself of all the time you lose to notifications and keep your goals visible. Presence anchors you, process carries you, practice wires it in, and regulation keeps you honest. Woven together, they turn focus from a fleeting mood into your default way of moving through the day. Number 4. Focusing on the outside world. Once your inner focus is steadier, the last step is bringing that steadiness into conversation, community, and the wider world, so your attention doesn't just survive real life, it thrives in it. Begin with how you listen. Our brains can process far more words per minute than anyone can speak, which tempts us into only half listening. Active listening, on the other hand, closes that gap on purpose. Characteristics include eye contact, letting the other person finish before you speak, and tracking their pace instead of jumping in. It also helps to reflect back what you heard to check your understanding, such as, "It sounds like you're really upset with your sister." While you're at it, try to ask open questions that nudge the story forward, like, "What did you do then?" Empathy is the secret engine here, and you'll be building trust when you withhold judgment and aren't afraid to open up about yourself at times. Now, a lot of conversations have moved online and into virtual rooms, but humans are wired for in-person connection. In fact, our reliance on digital communication leaves many of us lonelier and more distracted. Meanwhile, research shows that our brains are far more active in face-to-face situations, and they lead to sharper cognition and better mood. Even casual encounters, your barista, a neighbor on a walk, feed social well-being. Try 3 small experiments this week. Schedule one low-stakes meetup, like coffee or a lap around the block. Put your phone completely out of sight during at least one conversation, and share one meaningful detail beyond small talk. You'll feel the difference. The last 2 tools we'll explore are creativity and curiosity. Creativity doesn't have to mean art, but creating and doing things with your hands, whether it's sketching, woodworking, or even playing a game of chess, can be great ways of lifting your mood and strengthening neural connections. Creativity is any act that blends originality with usefulness. Drafting a surprising fix for a work problem, improvising a new dinner, rewriting an email with humor. It all serves to refill the well and should be part of your daily routine. Finally, there's curiosity. This is the trait that draws your focus toward what's worth exploring. Sometimes it's driven by interest and the sheer pleasure of learning, sometimes by a nagging gap you want to close. Either way, curiosity flips on the brain's learning circuits and strengthens memory, which is why answers to questions that truly fascinate you tend to stick. Curiosity is something you can cultivate. Ask why more often and follow the thread. Act on small what-ifs by trying a class or a new hobby. Schedule unstructured thinking time. No agenda, just space to wonder. Keep asking better questions and keep looking for better answers. When curiosity is directed toward your mission and what you're truly interested in, focus and attention will stop feeling elusive and start acting like a loyal friend. Present, engaged, and ready for whatever comes next. The main takeaway of this summary to Finding Focus by Zelana Montminy is that it isn't easy to reclaim ownership of our attention in a world that profits from distraction. Living a more focused life in this kind of environment doesn't require a single act of willpower. It requires a whole way of living. Start by strengthening the body and mind through nourishment, sleep, movement, and time in nature. Then structure your days around meaningful priorities and protected deep work blocks. Learn to respect the natural rhythm of your brain, when to concentrate, when to rest, and when to recover. Cultivate presence and process by bringing your full awareness to the moment in front of you and finding joy and purpose in the steps, not just the finish line. Carve out stillness so your mind can reset, then extend that awareness outward, listening deeply, nurturing real-world connections, and engaging with curiosity and creativity as natural allies of attention. Focus is freedom. When we direct our attention with purpose toward our relationships, our passions, and our values, we don't just become more productive, we become more alive, more grounded, and more present in the lives we're actually living. Okay, that's it for this summary. We hope you enjoyed it. See you soon. Thank you.